He also says that the parking lot, the beach has been very busy, and he says 3 out of 5 stated they do not attach one to their vehicle because it was too large and mess would leave the vehicle when removed. But he said 1 out of 5 cars has a beach sticker on their vehicle. Sometimes they have it hanging from their rear view mirror, he says, but some of them look like they're photocopied.
Bet they do.
I bet they do. Well, we have a workshop coming up to discuss
The beach.
the beach. It's in October. When? I don't remember. But yeah, but it's coming up. And we can take his suggestions.
What about that question here?
That's a good question. I don't know, what do you think?
It's a good answer, because,
Well, no, we don't have an answer.
right, but I mean, it's a pretty decent solution, though, I think, depending on,
Say yes.
Well, I
he's
suppose
doing
so,
it once a
depending on
week and
how,
not every day.
well, yeah, depending on how many hours you're gonna put into that. You know, I mean, the fact of the matter is that our maintenance position only provides for so many hours to be put in, and we need those maintenance hours here. I don't, I mean, of course, I haven't been around because I've been working mostly, but I haven't noticed any maintenance stuff going on. You know, depending on what our winter looks like, winter maintenance might be, you know, quite a project. So we don't want to have too much of the budget for that position go into picking up at the beach. I think that signage is an issue, you know, and having people carry in, carry out, but anyway.
CEO report. Complaints. 21 building
Okay,
permits.
so I'm actually interested in the update, owner acknowledge the notice. 3 days, it's required.
Anyone see the news this morning about the gentleman in green and the junkyard and the ordinances?
I have not.
You can get it from channels WCSH News Center 6, but it's a similar scenario. That's what we're leading up to here, I think.
So it says here that in the August 17th, a valid junkyard permit was presented by the operator of the yard. Didn't I understand that the junkyard had to be re-permitted
It runs out in October.
in October?
After the hearing, I haven't heard back from the letter he's sent yet.
This is a second location on Tom Farrell Road too. It's not the same.
Right, I think
Yeah,
the
there's
permit
two.
is only,
It's really the same guy. He has an
Right, but the permanent only applies to the properties on
Well,
the
yeah,
property that,
the number 2
yeah.
property.
Yep. It's good. You're on top of it.
I know we're not alone in being concerned about that.
Hmm?
I know we are not alone in being concerned about that.
ACO, anything from them? Her? Nothing? Planning board? Nothing?
I have nothing, they haven't met yet.
Ordinance committee, nothing?
Yeah.
What's the way this guy calls himself? This writer currently has no calls out.
Fire warden? Fire warden?
No.
Treasurer report.
On the ordinance committee.
Yeah.
One of the members recommended changing the meetings to Wednesdays, and I've heard from everyone except for Arthur, and all agreed with it due to work schedules.
Wednesdays,
Yep, third Wednesday.
So they're changing when the meeting's gonna meet, is that what,
Mhm.
third Wednesday?
once a month.
Here's the date.
The agenda. Yeah, I know on number, Brian's number 8, right, fire warden.
Just have one date on it, that's all.
I guess didn't send us a bill yet, we got, have to call her.
Usually you deal with the rec committee,
Huh?
usually deal with the
Oh, they
rec
do?
committee, not the.
Ask Teresa, Elizabeth, yes. 2022.
That is plenty of advance warning.
Town office will be closed Labor Day,
Which is on the
9/5.
fifth, which is on the fifth.
5th. And the planning board will meet on Tuesday, September 6th, due to the holiday.
Right, unfinished business.
Unfinished business. Anybody got anything?
Unfinished business, that will be
Oh.
tax foreclosures. Open session is when everybody gets. to
No,
jump
all
in.
right. Tax foreclosures.
So at the last meeting, you said for me to send Manly Dakin another letter
Mhm.
since he hadn't received. some of
Right,
his
and,
mail.
but then he signed for his lien notices, so you know he was still alive.
Right, so he did take a trip up here and paid all the taxes, so you're okay with deeding that property back to him?
I am, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Make that clear.
Okay, so, well, I move we sign a quick claim deed to give Manly Dakin back the property that he has paid his taxes on.
I second it. All in favor?
And we have some other people here to discuss the same topic, I understand,
Mr. Lafreniere is here.
sort of. Yeah, that would be you.
Really interesting story about pythons in Florida.
Well, you know, that's okay.
As long as they stay there, I'm
My
fairly
name is
happy.
Steve Lafreniere. First, I want to apologize for confusion, what happened to the taxes on some property that it's in my brother's name. I have a deed to it, actually. He didn't get it for it. And there were some notices sent out,
Mhm.
and I live in rural countryside, and our mail carrier retired a few months ago. And there's another person delivering the mail now. And I didn't even know there was a problem until the other day. This lady had called me, asked me about the property, and I said, what's going on? She said, been foreclosed on. I said, "Oh, didn't even realize. Someone, the mail carrier, and I asked this lady who signed for those, I have no idea who it is. It's two different people that signed those notices, and I have no idea.
Oh, the
honestly.
certified letters that came.
I don't know who it was that signed them. I don't even know who they are.
Mm.
So, and I don't know what the letters are. So it's quite a mix up. I want to apologize for that. Stop. I will gladly pay the town all of the back taxes, interest, and any penalties that's owed.
Well, I don't believe we have any penalties, but we have to cover the lien filing.
Any cost, I will get a certified check and drive here Saturday morning and deliver it to this lady. Every penny that's owed, and I apologize for what's happened.
Which property does this concern?
Well, of course, I don't have my packet from last week,
Yeah.
but it's a largish
It's
piece
in-
off Bear Mountain Road.
Should be in your packet.
Oh, the one up on the right is like
Yeah,
100 and some odd
Big
acres.
piece of blueberry land.
Oh, yeah.
Pratt Hill Road and Bear Mountain.
And I bought that property, I was 29 years old, I'm gonna be 69 years old on Sunday. And I've been paying on it for 40 years.
Paying your taxes on You've been paying the taxes on it.
Yes, I have.
It must have come as a surprise to you that suddenly didn't have to pay taxes anymore.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of
Mhm.
stuff going on. I'm not gonna make excuses for it, but I will apologize for missing that. I'm gonna have my son on the computer, keep track of this stuff from now on.
We have a valid address for him now that he will get.
Yep,
Think
we
so?
we have the right address,
Yeah.
just, I don't know where the letters were delivered.
This lady here, gave me the names of the two people that signed those letters. Never heard of them before.
Who takes other
Yeah.
people's
Never heard of
certified
them,
mail?
honestly.
Mm.
Because we have a new mail carrier, it was several months ago, because our old mail carrier retired. So when I
That
asked
has
her,
happened
"That's who
everywhere,
signed
I
it?"
tell you.
She said his names are not. I never heard of those people in my town. So
Do we have any
Do
choice?
you feel strongly that you'll be able to
Do we have any
meet your
choice?
tax commitment by this Saturday?
absolutely.
We
I
can
did
send it back.
tomorrow,
We'll
but
send it
I
to
have
the
business
solicitor.
in there. I wouldn't get
We're
some-
actually closed tomorrow. But
I'm
Leanne's got a
closed.
million other things she's doing.
So I'm off the hook for tomorrow. Absolutely.
It gives you a day to get your act together.
Tell me how much it is, and I'll have it to the penny, a bank check.
I gave him the copy.
So he knows what his amount is, amount due.
That probably means a lot to me, it's pretty
Sure.
special. My grandfather and I spent some time up there. He's dead now. Just have a lot of memories.
Most of us, when we get to be 69 years old, don't have our grandparents anymore. Probably not our parents either at that point. Well, I don't know how you feel about it.
I want people to keep their property. If they
Yeah.
can pay the taxes, I want them to keep it. If they can't. then
You
they
know,
need to
I mean,
move
up to a
forward.
certain point. I mean,
Right.
if you came to us after the 1st of October, I think we just have to say, tough luck, buddy. But that's, yeah, I guess I would, I agree with that.
All right,
So I'm, yes.
yeah.
How did Mr. Lafreniere know about this? How did you get, because
This,
you
I got his phone number.
you got
from
his phone
Matt
number.
Lamar.
From a neighbor that knows me.
Okay, so you now have his phone number and his address.
I put it right in the computer.
Yes.
All right. Okay. This one. When did you buy that from Osmond?
Pardon me?
When did you buy the property from Osmond?
1982 from Osborne and Gina Merrill.
And Gina Merrill?
Gina's his wife. They
Oh,
they both
okay.
passed
Oh,
now.
all right.
As a matter of fact, their son Richard
Yeah.
has also passed.
Right. Yeah.
That's where Albert and Merrill started the blueberry farm for Merrill's.
Well, that,
Yeah, Albert or Al, yeah, that was Austin's dad, I believe, yeah. Yeah. Austin actually became a friend of mine. He was a nice man.
Okay, well, I move we sell the property back to Mr. Lafreniere and execute a claim deed for said lot.
Yeah, okay, a
As long
second.
as he follows through with his
I
commitment to
mean,
pay.
Yeah.
clearly, you know,
We
assuming of
open
course.
at 10.
I might even come sleep Friday night.
Yeah.
Up the parking lot.
There you
10,
go.
right? Saturday
She's
or
not gonna
11.
be around till 10.
Okay, so if
She's
he's not
gonna-
here Saturday, then
I'll be there.
So that's the deadline, Saturday at 1,
Saturday at 1 is the
What time you say
deadline.
you open?
10 to 1.
I'll be at 9:30. Early.
Okay, Saturday at 1 is the deadline.
Yep, that's fine.
I guess I just want to say, there are many people here in our wonderful town of Hartford that are able to pay their taxes on time. And I am one that I really want to make sure that our current taxpayers understand that I don't want to penalize the achievers, the ones that were able to get their stuff in on time. And we're not in the property business either. We don't want to be buying and selling property. We're happy to do everything we can to get it back to the original owner, but I appreciate those taxpayers that are able to pay their taxes on a timely basis.
No,
'Cause
it's not easy.
It's
to-
very time
It's
consuming
not always,
to chase people down. It's very time consuming. We want you to have your property. So,
Okay, I second it. All in favor?
there you
So
go.
that's birthday present I've had in my life.
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
you still got some follow through to do, so good enough. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you.
I'll see you Saturday morning.
You're not gonna see me, you'll see her.
Lenny has her hand
I'll
raised,
be
but
here.
Yes,
the internet's not very well.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Very much.
Thank you for coming, gentlemen.
See you later.
I was wondering who that smiley fellow with the hat
Whatever
was.
they had up there.
Yes, he was here.
Yes.
I'll see you Saturday.
Okay, good.
Have a nice evening.
Okay.
Lenny,
Yeah, go ahead. ask
Yes,
her.
please.
Love to hear from Lenny.
Go ahead, Lenny.
Oh, I was just going to ask if when people speak, you could identify them for us Zoomers. but I also want to bring something up in open session, so I'm getting ready.
So
Okay,
open session is next, so
I just wondered, since the link wasn't working, if you could go back over the constable report and the ordinance committee report.
I emailed them to all of you
No, this side, yeah. And then I also.
this afternoon, probably 6 o'clock.
Was Leanne speaking to me?
yeah,
Actually, the constable report came in at 10:07, so you won't see that one.
Right. I didn't see any ordinance report either.
There was none.
Can you go over that again?
yeah, wait a minute. What you want, the beach one?
No, the
There is no ordinance.
we didn't see anything from the.
There's nothing on the ordinance, Lenny.
okay, what about the constable report?
Well, the constable report was not read aloud. And that's part, at least part of why you didn't hear it.
Oh,
I mean,
so is there one?
there is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No more questions on tax?
Yes, we have two that, do you want to sell them? What do we sit on them
Now,
or?
which are the other two? Would you please?
In your packet, you'll see Dwight Wallace and Linwood Bishop.
And they made no.
No contact. They both, well, Linwood Bishop passed away and his son also passed away, so the letters were returned.
Say sell
Which property is it you, can I see? It's some, no,
some of the road
Dwight Wallace did receive all of his letters.
beside the spring, beside the Ricker Hill.
yeah, I see I see what it is. It's just this little spaghetti lot or it goes, it actually goes back here. So
No.
it's the spaghetti lot to 10 acres.
It's only 1.5 acres. I think.
Okay, so it's not even a buildable lot.
Well, if it was created before 1989, was it? It is buildable.
Or was it buildable if it had something on it then? Because I remember that years ago, Route 140 was changed. Could you gentlemen take it outside, please? Thank you. So I remember years ago, of course, Route 140 used to go right past right into what would have been Sharon Gagne's property. Left a three-cornered piece right there in the corner. You know, it's been farm field for a little while. And then the Sharon Gagne, you know, on the corner of Church. So there's a little three-cornered piece and it's not
Yeah,
buildable lot.
right.
It was created back when they moved 140, and that was probably in the 30s or something, you know, 30s or the 40s. And that was considered not buildable. And Janice said, oh, that lot was created back along, I want to build on it. And she was disallowed from building on it.
She probably couldn't meet the setbacks. You have to have 20, 25, 20 feet.
Right,
From all
well,
buildings.
does this, and you also have to have a certain amount of road frontage. This property does not look like it has the road frontage for that, does it?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm just, you know, I mean, maybe I'm quibbling over
But
something.
neither do the beach properties, and they were created before, I think it's 1989 or 1990.
But they were built upon at that
Not
time.
all of them. I don't know. Anyway, do you want to sell them?
I say yes.
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, my sense is that that's not a buildable lot.
Okay, but do you want to sell them?
Yes,
Yes.
I would say. So.
When would you like bids due?
We got to give people enough time to.
Yeah, check
Enough
things
time
out.
to check on it. Bids due is what? Would you give them a month? Would you give them 2 weeks? Would you give them 6 weeks?
Month, probably, no?
So that by the 1st of October, or when is our meeting in October? Looks to me like October 6th.
Bids back by October 6th.
5 PM.
Yep,
How much of a deposit do you want to require?
To make a bid.
Mhm.
I can't remember what we've asked in the past.
It's usually 5.
I'm not-
1%,
What's that?
5%.
Oh, geez, I was gonna say 10, but
It's up to you. I don't think the ordinance states how much
does it say in the ordinance what?
of your
um,
bid, of your bid.
Of their bid. Because, you know, I mean, nobody can buy a property for less than the taxes due, but somebody might actually purchase a property for a greater amount. Because if somebody is looking at that particular piece of property and says, well, somebody owes $4,000 worth of taxes, I'm bidding $4,000, somebody else is liable to bid higher.
Yeah.
And of course, the high bid is.
Anybody that really wants it is gonna bid.
That's right.
right.
So do we agree on 10%?
10%?
Is that refundable?
Yes.
If you don't get the bid? And when you say deposit, is that a personal check? Is that a
Well-
certified check? Is that a
Let me read the new ordinance. Make
pennies in a
sure.
jar?
It might be that.
I know, I'm just looking at my
Well-
house. What do I
I
ask?
just have a question, like, before they put it up for bid, do they decide whether it's buildable or not?
You'll have to check with the code enforcement officer.
Okay. Thank you.
And could they apply for a variance anyway?
They have to talk to Scott.
You know, first you start with the code officer, and if you were denied, but you think that it ought to be buildable, there's always the appeals board.
I
However,
think it would just matter what, how much you bid on it, if it's buildable or not.
Mm.
That was-
I dare say,
I don't need to be.
oh, no, not at all, but you know, and like I said, I don't know this exact piece of property, I'm looking at this, looking at the map, it looks like it is a sliver.
This is
And
the
so-
Wallace property, which one is it?
I think that is the Bishop property, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yep.
It is a sliver. And, you know, it may or may not be buildable. I'm skeptical, but yes,
Has the town ever considered contacting the butters, especially in a situation like this, 1.5 acres?
We have an ad in the paper,
My
don't we?
calculation is that
We have-
Yep, I'll have it on the website, email,
It's
newspaper.
valuable to our butters.
well, there you go.
Other towns.
That's
don't
right,
let us
that's
to
right.
butters, So let them bid first.
Well, we have rules about how it's supposed to go and it's to be put out to bid. But the abutters are more than welcome to bid, and I would imagine that they want to.
Right.
What he's saying is, do they specifically notify them
No,
that it's up for bid?
Other towns that I've been used to dealing with.
It seems so.
Send out
we
letters to
advertise it
abutters,
usually.
letting them know that it's coming out for bid.
Well, yeah, because it would be a shame if the abutters didn't at least have a shot at it.
Well, I don't think by regulations that you even have to.
Oh, well, I don't know that we have to. But one of the things to bear in mind when you're in the position of being on the select board, just because you're allowed to do something doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. And just because you're not required to do something doesn't mean that you had not to. So, I mean, I think, you know, I'm taking Ken, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking Ken's suggestion to be actually a good one. Because it seems to me it would be kind of rude not to let the abutters know that this is coming up. It's not like in saying, oh, we have to let the abutters know that this is coming up, that you have to send out 47 pieces of mail. We're only talking about the abutter on either side, right? Or maybe at the further back side. Yes.
Well, if you're gonna let a butters know, why don't you let people in the family know? Don't they, would they have a closer, contact?
That's true, we don't know.
Do you have their addresses?
Huh?
Do you have their addresses?
You have
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
I'd say we go
Well,
by.
you know,
I'm just saying,
the
I
bottom-
don't believe,
More,
you should give butters a more chance to get in there and bid before somebody else.
no, they get,
Put it
it's
up to
all,
general
it all
public.
happens at the same time. It all happens at
Okay,
the same
then
time.
that's fine.
And Maura, I just want to say, you have no idea how much trouble has gone in to trying to find the heirs and assigns or anybody who's attached to this property in any way, shape, or form. Is this not right, Leanne? She's been knocking
Where is this
herself
again?
out to find people. That's why Manly Dakin showed up here tonight. She had sent, what, 3 or 4 certified letters to him that that got bounced back, and then finally some lien notices got signed, and she's knocked herself out to find this guy. And he bought back all this property. This other guy too. I mean, one certified letter after another, Finally, she found a phone number, called him up, and he came, and he more or less is planning to redeem his property. We don't want to take property away from anybody.
Well, people have a responsibility to pay their taxes.
Yeah,
You shouldn't have to go above and beyond
that's right, really.
what you're doing already. If people
Well,
are not paying.
I guess I'd have to
Everybody
say
knows.
I guess I'd have to say we're already just about as far above and beyond as we can get
Exactly.
without actually knocking ourselves out.
I don't know what my packet will be.
So we usually put it out for ad anyways.
It's either Bishop or Wallace.
Bishop and
Bishop.
Wallace.
What's this,
Bishop.
what's this, map and lot?
Want to see it?
So did you say you decided on 10% down?
Yeah.
And when, if they're the winning bidder, when should they pay the rest, the remaining amount by?
I would imagine upon being notified. Wouldn't
Well,
you?
they might have to secure financing.
Has to be a
Or
certified
go to
check or
cash.
cash, but
I don't know.
Uh,
Seems like they have at least 7 days to produce the money. I don't know what you guys have done in the past.
Something, I honestly can't recall what we did in the past. I mean, it's been quite some years since we had any such a.
Yeah.
Such.
I would give at least a couple of weeks.
I would say-
If it's
I
a
would say
huge
at least
amount,
a
they may
couple
have to
of
go to the bank.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe
that's
the-
just it, and that can take quite some time.
Say 2 weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks.
Do you think 2 weeks could get somebody to the bank and back? Leanne, you look skeptical.
Maybe if they start now, planning now.
Well, there you go, and that is the catch,
So you gotta have your deposit in.
although I don't know that
No.
I mean, both of these properties we're selling
Deposits
are
would be
just, are more or less slivers of raw land, right? We're not talking about, about a house and.
There's a building on one of them.
The next
On
one
this one,
is,
yeah.
the next one is good.
There's a cabin on it.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Desert Way.
I would give them a month,
I'm thinking of 2 weeks is after.
October 6th, but then we
Oh, yeah,
commit.
yeah, okay, that's close.
For the next meeting in October.
That's only 2 weeks.
How about 2 weeks to submit their plan on how they're getting their financing? No,
No, I would have a deadline for the rest, the
Yeah,
remainder.
just so that, because.
How about the next
Frankly, we don't give a.
Meeting in
What
November.
they do for their financing, we don't care if they want to hang, it ain't up to us. They need to come up with the dough.
How about the 1st of November?
That would work for me.
But we commit taxes in October.
Yes, and so, seems to me that,
The end of
Yes.
October.
if we're gonna give people a couple of weeks for advertising and all that, and then we need to give them a month of time to cough up the dough. Are we gonna have the dough before we commit taxes? I'm saying maybe
Don't
why
not.
not if it's October 1st, so we can make taxes.
Well, I don't know that it's gonna happen on the first. It has often happen late in the month.
Right.
In fact, often or late in the month.
We'll work around it. I'll just hold those bills out until we get the new owner's name and we'll work around it. I don't know.
I would imagine,
If
My
you have
only
to go to
thought
the
is-
bank and apply for a loan,
Right.
you're gonna know something.
Right, it don't take a
And-
month.
Right, and that's why I'm saying is they would be able to send a letter of commitment. to
With
say that
everything
they just
electronic,
financed
it just takes
Right,
2 days.
No,
I mean,
I'd say 2 weeks is
I don't know that
enough.
answer. I don't know that answer.
Like Teresa says, it don't take that long to know whether you get the money or not.
Yeah, and I would
They ain't
almost,
gonna bid on it if they ain't got the money.
well, I was about to say, I would almost think the people who are interested in bidding are people who actually
No,
have a little scratch to start out with, but maybe not.
right, because we're not gonna, it's not like a typical
Maybe-
home sale
maybe
where
say-
they're gonna
maybe
want
for
a
instance,
home
if you were-
inspection, water.
Right, yeah,
All
so
this stuff.
maybe if you were a butter, you might be tapped out and have to scramble for financing in order to expand your property.
So you want the second meeting in October? That's what you said?
What did we say for a date for the bids?
October 6th.
October 6th. Does that just give them only 2 weeks? But it is one of our meetings and that does make, makes administrative sense to the select board. it seems
Either
like.
that or the first one in November.
Oh, I was thinking sooner.
No, it can't be any sooner
Well,
than.
second-
No, I
second
meant,
meeting in
we're gonna put it
October.
out to bid for the whole month of September, accept bids, right?
mhm,
And then review the bids on the first meeting in October.
mhm.
So the second meeting in October, you want the remainder of the balance?
Well, she's saying the first meeting in October.
That's
No,
opening,
we're gonna choose
opening,
the bid.
opening
Oh, we'd
bids.
open the bids. It's usually an exciting time.
So what's the date of the second meeting in October?
6 and 14 is probably the 20th, let me see. Yeah, 20th,
We should give them time.
I mean, if you're sincere enough about bidding, either you got the dough or you got to
That's
play.
right. Okay, by
If you made the
October
bid, right?
20th?
So, yeah, and that makes sense to me. To me, it makes sense to. go
Then if they
with
can't come up with
the-
the money, we're gonna go to the second bidder, still have to wait. Correct? If someone bids on it, gets the bid, and then they don't come up with the money,
Well, I don't know.
Shouldn't that
yet.
be an automatic thing if you're gonna bid on
you would hope, but in today's day
Well,
and age, you just
Well,
never know.
so,
They got 2 weeks, I mean, I hope
it?
they
I
get
mean,
the
you
money in
gotta
2
draw a
weeks.
line.
No,
well,
I agree.
well,
But
and
if we
you
accept the bid
say
and then
if
they don't
they
get the money
didn't
to
come up
us,
with the
then
dough,
what?
but I can tell you, I said, honestly, I'm only been doing this
I've
for
heard
4
such
years,
a
I've
thing.
never seen that.
Right, they
You
want the
know?
property.
I've
they
never
want
heard
the
such a
money
thing. If you're gonna bid on a property,
and not have the money, I know, I
it's
agree.
stupid.
Or not have the money or a plan.
Okay, so 10% down, bids are due October 6th, and the remainder is due October 20th.
Yep,
I'll put it in the paper.
Yeah,
Yep.
by October 20th. Yes,
Yeah, I give you a map of where that location is.
yep,
Can I?
yep.
sure, well, here, there's, I'm looking for some right here.
And the other two have until October 1st to pay, or,
To get their bid in and pay their.
no, the other two properties, they have until October 1st to pay their taxes, or they will have to do another bid.
And then October 6th, we will put them out to bid. The ones that if they don't pay their stuff.
What's
October
that?
1st. We have 2 people that are supposed to pay their taxes by October 1st.
We'll have to set all new dates to, we'll have to do this all again.
Yeah. Hopefully they pay them.
Sure thing, would you like the number for the code officer? I thought she might.
415-4381.
Oh, there you go, 207.
Okay, 415.
4381.
4381.
So these guys have got till October 1st.
To make the bid.
Come in, to come in
Oh,
and
talk about the
pay.
other group.
To cough up the road.
Not these guys, the ones which we already made arrangements with. Kathy, there's
Oh,
2 properties,
There's
right?
2 properties that we've already arranged that they have.
Right,
until October
okay.
1st.
all right.
Told us
These
to
folks,
pay by
These
these
are
folks
good.
are essentially hardcore deadbeat, and we
Okay.
can't get hold of them.
Okay,
And Leanne has made quite a few
Okay.
attempts to get hold of
yes, I know,
heirs and assigns, correct?
I know, okay.
Okay, there we go. So 70 days.
Next one is Desert Way.
Right.
Those two, yeah.
2,
There's two. One Desert Way.
no, 2
There's two
total.
properties. There's two properties.
Yes, two
There's the one that
properties.
that these ladies are clearly interested in.
Interested in living.
Just, you know. Just what you always wanted. And then there is a camp on Desert Road.
Did you want me to send letters to the butters?
Okay.
That's no
I
work
just
for
think that
you.
everyone has equal opportunity. I don't think
That's
we should
right.
target anybody. If they're interested in buying a property, they
They'll
can
bid.
show up like everybody else does. I don't feel we should give anyone an unfair advantage. They want to.
Okay.
Small town, they can.
You know, I'm not so sure that notifying butters is unfair advantage. You know, because you know where this is gonna be noticed? It's gonna be noticed in a little piece in the back of the paper. How many people actually look at this paper?
Word will
I'm
get
gonna-
around.
I'm gonna email it. It's gonna be on the website. It's gonna be on Facebook
And,
and in the office.
and people are gonna be talking to each other at
They'll get around.
Bim's Country Garage and other places, and Canton Variety, and
They'll get around.
I have something for when you're ready.
Did you want to see the other one?
so I just showed her that one. Maybe it wasn't the one that she was looking at before, so.
Okay, map 22, yeah, so I can't see the route numbers.
Yeah, but you didn't see a route number on that because that's on Desert.
It's on a back
Desert Road,
road.
and the Desert Road is not a town way, and it is.
I'll have packets ready with
It's
everything.
rough.
It's not.
It's rough. This is a camp.
Okay.
I mean, there are people who live down there year round, bless their hearts, and they just plow it out in the winter time. But I'll tell you what, it is some rugged. I'm not joking. It's not like, you're looking at another piece of property that's on.
It's anything,
It's on Summer Road.
Just call, I'll send a packet to you.
Okay, perfect. And then Desert Way, where was that?
I'll send a packet,
Okay.
okay?
Anybody on Zoom got any questions?
No.
No?
It seems like they'd speak up if they did.
Can I
Assuming
take a
that
little
Zoom is
bathroom
still
break?
working.
Okay, open session.
Thanks, teacher.
Anybody got anything in open
I
session?
have alcohol permit that came in yesterday.
Mhm.
Say alcohol for me?
Yes.
Wedding.
Pretty much
Okay.
Brewing,
All right, good.
355 Mahoney Road.
At the Vine
Well,
Yards.
it's Bonaventura Vineyards, but they are not on Mahoney Road. They're on Berry Road, are they not?
Yeah, we're very good.
So I guess I'm seeing that this was filled out with the wrong address.
Well, we can change it then.
I'm
sending it.
I'm
in.
just saying, you know, I mean, I know where we're talking about, so. Well, you know something, I would say absolutely. Gritty's is gonna bartend for a wedding. It's gonna be held in the wedding barn. Lovely
It needs
place.
to be signed and I need a
You can
motion.
just hand it back. Probably there's only one signature, in which case that would be you, but maybe it's all of us.
There's more than one.
Okay.
to check that out.
That's right. So there you go. Copy what we did and then find. Just put you in. Gotcha. I think I'm all set. Yeah, I can just throw it out. Just to throw it out there. I haven't got time to
And
say.
can I have a motion on this?
I move that we approve the alcohol permit.
I second it. All in favor?
So we do have something for open session. We heard-
Yes, hi. Hello,
Hello.
yes. This is Richard.
Yeah,
I never was able to see the last school board meeting. For whatever reason, it never got posted and I didn't see it live. I believe the next one is the 12th, on Monday, the 12th.
it's good.
Thank you. So I did have something for open session, just something to throw out there. Raymond Hunter contacted me recently and said that he was up at Tractor Supply and they gave him a huge pile of seeds, all for the 2022 season, which they've been up. And so he's got all of these wonderful seeds, and it occurred to me that he asked me, what should I do with them? Well, I've got a couple of ideas, but one of my ideas, we had a seed swap that we held at the town hall before now. There is a small group of Hartford homesteaders that I think I would like to have a meet and greet. Not this month, and probably possibly not even next, because homesteader types are really busy this time of year. Possibly it'll be as late as into November before we could have a little meet and greet and call it a seed swap too.
Mhm.
So I just thought I'd give you a heads up that, you know, we don't have a date. We're
Open.
nowhere near a date, and I won't have much slack until sometime in November either, but I just thought I'd throw that out, that I'd like to have the hall for that free local seed swap,
Open to the public?
we should imagine. Yeah.
Great idea.
Do you need insurance or anything?
No, community event.
I would think it would come into the community event category.
Mo,
I have something, I just have to think about, on Berry Road, at the new, well, I'm not sure of the name, just the second place beyond, coming towards DeCosta Four Corners, Brad Hill Road, Bear Mountain Road, beyond, shoot, I can't think.
Talking about on Berry Road,
Yeah, okay, coming from my house, you can buy, what's the name of the steep hill down private?
Going towards Pratt Hill.
McSherry,
McSherry, thank you. Okay, and then there's Chris
I don't know. the name.
McClellan or whatever, and then there's the auto repair place, okay? He's got quite a few vehicles just sitting there, campers and whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing him put up a tall fence to keep that private. And if somebody's down burning a lot of rubber down there, and I always happen to be down.
Yeah, I know,
Let's see that.
I know the person you're talking about,
Okay,
and they've been
I'm
representing that
just
one.
saying, I was talking to somebody across from Bonaventure Vineyards, and I was there, and I heard a car go down by. I didn't think it was a little loud. Come back, and here's a stock car going up the road back to his place, okay? So the gentleman says, yeah, I seen him burning out there. Now, what is a stock car with not a license?
I
be
think that's
doing
a police
on-
issue.
Huh?
I think that's a police issue.
Well.
Law enforcement, not.
Yeah,
staff
well, then I guess. I'll be-
411, non-emergency.
Could,
Well,
relation. I
it's,
don't think we have 411 for
Oh, we
that.
don't?
could we not have the
not in
constable
Texas
take
anymore,
this
are they?
into the garage?
the only way I
No.
can is probably put up a camera, because they're not gonna sit there all day long and just wait.
And it's quite a pattern on the property.
But that was,
I just walked up there
Yeah.
this morning
well, you
and
did,
I was like, holy moly, it's
yeah, oh,
everywhere.
yeah, it's, And somebody's seen him put it up, and he claims, oh, it's his friends that are doing it. Well, he's the one to stop that, unless his friends are going to stop that.
Tires are expensive, you must have a lot of money.
Well,
He's got a lot of old tires
it
to burn
can be
out.
expensive to have, really. I just think enough is enough.
Have fun with the police.
What's that, please?
I said, have fun with the police.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, some of you can get them to go down
Except for
there.
the,
They don't care too much about outhouse fires.
They're usually down on that corner anyway.
You can't get
With
them,
cops,
you can't get them to watch for speeding going by here.
Sheriff's Department was in Buckfield and 2 state troopers the other morning on Monday. And I had to go through Buckfield like 3 times for work. And they had so many people pulled over. I mean, it was quite the eye catcher right at the bottom of the street in Mountain. When they should be slowing down by the elderly housing, they weren't, but they did when the troopers all went full on over. Yeah, there's a lot.
Good.
But that's sometimes what it takes to get.
well,
traffic
that's
to
about the
slow down.
only thing they can do is speed traps, I
know.
guess. In any case, it is a law enforcement issue. And, you know, I certainly couldn't call, we couldn't call because we didn't see anything happen and, you know, we're not in a position to do anything about it.
Probably have to be one of you guys calling.
Well, you know, and I guess what I would do if it were me, and I was hot under the collar about a situation like this, I would start talking to neighbors who would be in agreement. I can tell you, the folks that live just your side of McSherry Lane on the same side of the street are just fed up to hear with them. Because I've heard complaints.
North County. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about this side, your side.
Well, Jackson is on one side. and you come
Yes,
from
well,
Cherry
in any
Lane.
case, my suggestion would be to talk to neighbors about it and get a campaign of calling the cops and just calling and calling and calling and calling and calling. And after a while, they're bound to send somebody out because they're getting sick of hearing from the people in this neighborhood who are
So
bitching.
do you have cops that come out or sheriff?
Sheriff.
That's who you're talking about.
Well, cops is cops, you know. I mean,
Police in town, right?
Yeah, we have no town cops.
Okay.
I think Lenny had something for open session.
Go ahead, Lenny.
Didn't she already say it?
No, I wanted to ask for the constable and ordinance reports, but I think we did that. We skipped ahead.
She was already asked about it before
that
we
was it,
finished
okay.
with foreclosures. Thank you.
Anything else?
But I didn't hear a constable report.
No.
Was there one? I'm
Yes,
not hearing.
It was not read
Read,
aloud.
read it.
Oh, is it long? Is it
Yes,
possible to
long
read?
enough.
What? It's long?
It's reasonably long.
Yeah, it's
It's
long.
not all that long. It
That's okay. If it can be sent out, I'd be happy to read it later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything? No? Any new business?
I have one concern.
What's that?
Yes.
As you're heading down 140, right, as you get ready to turn to Bartlett Drive, when they dug out the road, that corner right there where this huge monstrous tree is, when you turn into Bartlett Drive, the rainwater is just washing that away. I have a huge hole.
It's in Bartlett Drive. It's in Bartlett Drive.
It's right on the edge, right on the edge.
But that's a
I don't
state
know if I
road.
just need to call,
It is a
stop.
state road and I'd be happy to help you with the right telephone number to call to complain
Okay,
about it.
yeah, I appreciate that.
I can do that.
Yep.
I think I can do that. Let me just see what I can find.
I have it at the office.
She has it.
No, coming from here, if you're heading towards Canton,
Mhm.
Would you like to write down a telephone
I
number?
would, I have it, yep.
The guy's name is Emery, Emory. Lovely,
Lovely.
just like,
Lovely.
wonderful, beautiful, lovely.
Okay.
Emery Lovely, Region 3, Maine Department of Transportation, and the number is 207-562-4222. 8.
All right, thank you.
You are very welcome. And again, if you don't, I can't tell you how many times I've called the DOT and not heard anything back. If you don't hear anything back, get your neighbors to call too.
Well, if I don't hear anything, I'll just flag one of these.
Keep calling.
Just keep calling and or have your neighbors call too.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
You can flag down these DOT people all you want, but if you want to talk to the right guy, he's the one.
No.
When he gets enough calls, he's gonna start waking up. Hopefully.
Okay, I don't know if everybody knows it, but we had a fire at the beach a couple Saturdays ago,
That's what I heard.
and they burned the porta potty down,
Oh, my.
And let the tree on fire.
and they tried to light the pine tree that was near the picnic table. I'm surprised they didn't burn the picnic table.
Wow. It really is kind of surprising because the picnic table.
Are we financially responsible for that?
Yep,
Well, somebody is.
so
I don't know if that ends up.
they called the fire marshal, and supposedly state police is involved, but we haven't really heard
But
anything.
they're not highly involved in any case.
We haven't really heard anything on it.
Nobody saw anything?
Nope.
So another
We've
comment,
heard a bunch of, we've heard a fair amount of hearsay and circumstantial evidence, but there's no proof.
And then we had an individual stop by one day, and the door was open at the schoolhouse up on Church Street. And he went in, and the desk was knocked over, and tables was knocked over, and books was thrown all over the place.
This is just recently.
Yeah, but
And the door was open because this person kicked it in or something, or?
I don't know.
Why
Not
would
the
the door-
person who called.
Not the one
no.
that called, no. He
Oh,
just
so
stopped. 'cause
Somebody
he see
stopped
it
by because
open.
he saw the door had
Yes.
been left open.
So I don't know if all this was left over from after Laurie got rid of the clothes up there. Remember when it was?
Well, it was vandalized because I was looking through the minutes in 2019, I
Yeah.
It was
think.
vandalized a while back.
So I don't know if this is from that.
It was vandalized at the same time that the church was vandalized.
Right.
Right.
It was Scotty McNeil that called and let us know, and he says he's willing to volunteer to take care of it. He said he'll paint, clean, watch it once a week, whatever you want,
Wow.
because he loves that building.
When did this happen?
Yeah, a week ago.
Because
So
I went down to Canton. Yeah, I went down Church Street and then, and I came back. And I didn't see that door
Open.
open.
I've been down there
And
like
I
4
don't
times.
know,
I always look
it
at that.
seems
one.
like I did it the day I put out
Well,
signs
because
for
of
the
cooking.
auto,
I had a
antique
couple
auto
spots.
show.
He called on 8/24.
What's that?
8/24 is when he called.
Huh,
So
okay.
it's a Wednesday.
Well, maybe they, okay, by that time, maybe I had, it was already closed back up or something.
I went up one day and closed it the
Okay,
day after he
yeah, reported.
reported it. One door's got a lock on it, this one
One is
doesn't.
boarded from the inside, the left one is boarded from the
Well,
inside.
you know, and something's true. Are you kidding? If it doesn't have a lock on it, we should lock it. On the other hand, if somebody's that determined to break in and cause trouble, they're just gonna break windows.
Windows.
And getting windows
Make
fixed is
more
a lot more
damage.
expensive than a door that is just left ajar.
I think we should find some use for that building.
Some use for it and or sell it. One of the,
This is the one out on Church Street?
yes.
Yeah, it's across from the church.
Or across from the building that was a church. Yes, did you say something?
It said put it up for bid, like you do tax acquired property. You put it back on the tax base.
That is certainly one of the options.
Is it under the historical registry?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be limited. to what
Well,
they can do,
that,
right?
just like they broke into the church here a year ago or more, and, you know, for what reason?
At the same
Just-
time,
just
at the same
destroy it.
time, that,
Right, just to be.
Yeah, I mean,
right, and there was talk about knowing who it was and nobody wanted to do anything about it.
well,
I think
didn't
it,
hear that.
I think it would have to go to town meeting.
I
to
heard it,
Well,
Yeah, probably.
but I'm not gonna tell you anything about it in the meeting, I can tell you that right now.
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, it would only be.
Just another comment. You've talked about the fire at the beach and the old schoolhouse being disrupted. I think I also heard there were possibly a couple of burglaries at the beach. And it sounds to me like this, I hope the police really dig into this and figure out what's going on here, because it sounds like there's quite a bit of deviltry going on. What's that?
Hope springs eternal. It doesn't seem like they're all that concerned about it. I heard the report, I read it myself on, that somebody said that somebody broke into their house and stole some cash, and then somebody else lost some cash at the beach. Now, when you leave your wallet stuffed in a pair of Crocs on the picnic table, that's not quite what I'd call burglary. But in any case, evidently, he supposedly lost some cash. But again, hard to prove and hard to prove and.
Not at a beach.
You know, I mean, I don't want to make any comments about anybody's leaving their cash in their shoes on the picnic table, but you know, nonetheless, you know, there's no proof in any case.
I just hope they pursue it as far as they possibly can.
I'm sure they have gone as far as they care to, but I don't have the impression that anything has taken place. I haven't heard anything.
Okay, fire rescue contracts for Buckfield and Turner.
Ms. Buckfield. I think there's 2 contracts here.
Hi, Laurel, thanks for coming. Are there any major changes from their previous contract?
It's a 3-year contract now for both of them. I haven't seen Canton's yet, but
And something I suggested a couple of years ago anyway, because what we do with our plow contract, our trash contract, our mowing contract, and so forth, has always been a 3-year contract, and it gives both the contractor and the town a certain a sense of stability. And I suggested to the fire departments, why wouldn't you want to do the same thing? It took a little while for them to get around to it, but it just makes sense.
Then they can plan too. Stability and plan.
And have you checked through here to make sure that this is in fact all of the correct roads? Because at one point, the list of roads was all mussed up. Brook Drive, Moses Young, Andrews Drive, the Four Road, Desert Road, and Stetson Road. Guess they don't come to my house, huh? Although they go to Moses Young Road and Andrews Drive and the Foy Road, but not Labrador Pond Road. Guess they have to go on Labrador Pond Road to get there.
Right.
But they don't listen to my road there. Then I'm wondering how many other
They have
roads.
all the roads on there, they service?
Yes.
This would be.
Well, services will be rented to the
Tell
portions
them
of
all
town of Hartford listed below here and after referred to as the coverage area. I'm tempted to put Labrador Pond
I
Road
would.
right on there.
I would.
And do they say anything's getting Mesa on there? Just down below.
So what are we reviewing Buckfield and Turner contracts for?
We contract
Fire.
with our fire department. since we
Fire
don't
and
have our
fire
own.
department and rescue services.
Oh, okay.
This will be a 3-year contract, so. we won't have
So
There you go. I just added
Road.
2 roads here.
a whole bunch
I
of
didn't see
roads
roads on.
and all the way down
That
different
Pond
sides
Road
of like
in
Bear
Woodstock Mesa
Pond
is the
and-
name of the
Yeah.
camp down there.
No,
below.
no. Mhm.
Because, you know, everybody deserves a little bit of attention in a case like this. And I figure if they're going to all of the roads that are off my road, they ought to be going to my road too.
Mhm.
Doesn't that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Do they service my road?
Canton, yes.
Canton.
Not Buckfield. That would be Canton.
Canton?
You better cut some trees before winter.
Huh?
I said, you better cut some trees beside your road
Not no
before
more,
winter.
I just had the utilities converted. I don't have to hire an arborist this year.
No?
CMP's got it now. From private utilities, I had to convert it to public utilities. I paid the tax that was due on
Okay.
So you got power
so
going down through?
that. Yeah.
I just
I'm
made
the
a
one that got
correction
power.
here,
Yeah,
and you might want to
My
make a correction
grandson
since it
Bill's,
says
that's
Lois
why I had to
Lane
do
instead of
that.
your name.
but he could get power when he builds his house.
What about the place on the right before your house?
They're solar.
Really?
That's
Wow.
all.
Solar generator.
Really? Wow.
I mean,
That's how it's-
I couldn't know that, because I'm just.
one of the things I thought.
The
and
snow
we never
won't
said
close
anything
them
about it when
trees
we were
down?
going through the-
The snow this winter won't,
One sentence.
in trees?
Yeah.
Anyone who sits on this.
I've been doing a little bit of trimming.
I'm working on that right now too, because I'm like, how can I make judgment call?
Well, just driving on the roads doesn't tell you much, but at least lets you know what the condition of the road itself
Find them,
is,
yeah.
if nothing else.
Sometimes
Okay,
it makes sense when
guys.
So
it's
was there a motion to accept that contract?
Yes, I move that we accept the contract as amended for fire department services between the town of Buckfield and the town of Hartford.
I second that.
You said
As
fire
amended.
and rescue? You signed
Well,
both?
this one says fire.
There's two
department-
there, I think.
Are there two? We're supposed to sign both? I think I only saw one. Okay, here, we need to sign it here too. Sorry. Good thing you said something.
Sue seconded, all in favor?
Nine, one.
Turner's isn't signed by them yet, but I
Really?
really would
Yeah, you might as
get
well.
out.
Here we go. Again, you may want to make a correction there. And here we have Town of Turner Fire Suppression and Emergency Response Contract Services.
It's a file maker.
Again, so you want me to put this in this pile and pass it right back?
If you can continue, I'll check them before you all leave, make sure.
Make sure we get every signature. Oops.
For crying out loud, just followed along with you. Yes, you might have looked.
Guess we screwed that up, Leanne.
That's
We
right.
signed on the bottom instead of the top.
It's not the official one anyway, because we don't have
No.
their signed copy, but. figured I
There
would
you go. I
Okay.
fixed it.
Fair enough.
That's why I have a pen.
Do you want to make a motion on that one?
I move we approve the contract with the town of Turner for fire suppression and rescue services.
Second it, all in favor? Good. Okay, File Maker Pro Purchase Cemetery Database. What is,
Judy Hamilton is on.
I'm here and I've unmuted myself.
And this
I don't-
is-
The background on this is that my sister Jane Adams and I have worked the past year on putting together a database for all of the cemeteries in Hartford so that anybody coming in asking about anyone can find what cemetery they're in and where in the cemetery they can find the stones. This is right now in FileMaker Pro, which is a database, not a spreadsheet like Excel, but a database. Leanne has printed out what we have and it's also online. I guess the reason why this is on is that any inventory such as this is only as good as it's kept up to date. And I'm willing to help somebody to learn FileMaker if they want to be the person to try to keep it up to date and keep it moving forward. FileMaker being a database, I can put it into the information into Excel and I can put it into PDF, which is what it is in to be on the website as well as printed up in the office. So I guess the question and the reason why this is on your agenda is it can be a 25-year update from the previous document that was in the office done in 1996 and sit until somebody else updates it again in 25 or 50 or 5 or 10, whatever years. Or if you want to keep it going with a copy of FileMaker and somebody trained to update it, it's a very easy program to learn. You would just need to purchase FileMaker and you can get FileMaker Pro. I'm in a version 17. It's now up to version 19, which is not a problem if you bought the newest one. If you buy it online at FileMaker Pro, you're probably, I kept trying to find it while I was here listening to the rest of the meeting. So I can't find what nonprofit version or price is for FileMaker from FileMaker, but you can also get it from Amazon or on eBay. And so far, the best price I saw was $99 at Amazon for version 18. That's a 1-copy license that you then own. If you go to FileMaker, you can purchase a nonprofit one. It's going to be more, but you can put it on, have it to put on 4 machines. So you just have more flexibility that way. So this is kind of why it's on and why I'm here to just answer questions, or I'm not sure just
What do you mean by it will cost more? I mean, really, ultimately, I think this sounds like a great idea, although I'm not sure who wants to be the one to actually learn how to use it. And presumably, unless somebody really wants to learn how to use it, it may or may not be super useful to us. But I guess I want to know is, first of all, why do we need more versions than more copies than one? And second of all, how much do we mean by it will cost more?
Well, I don't think you really need more than 1 copy. For instance, years ago, I put all of your permit information, all the information's about permits in the town, on all the properties in town. I put that onto FileMaker and I had a database that had all the back issues, all the back permits. And I was continuing to update those permits. And again, that was in FileMaker. So there's another use for that application. If you had the application I mean, I purchased and donated to the town a copy of FileMaker years ago so that the permit database could be useful.
Yes.
But now it's so outdated, you'd need an updated version to do
So
it.
if we purchase this, we're gonna have to like update, purchase further updates on a annual basis?
No.
It's
I,
No?
for instance, back when I did the permit database, I was probably on a version 7. Then there was a problem with, I don't understand all the technology of it, but it going from a 32-bit to a 64-bit, and you couldn't use the earlier copy. So I had to upgrade, and I'm now on 17. So, and I've been on 17 now, and I've done database work for RCAM. I've done database work for both Canton and Hartford cemeteries. I've done database work for the Lake Association, all with 17 over several years now. I could probably sit on 17 for another 5 years. It all depends on how you want to use it. If you want to do something more than an earlier version can do.
Mm-hmm. And how much have your updates cost?
You mean to move to a higher number?
Yeah,
Well,
if you're already a customer, do they offer you an update at a reasonable cost? Or is it just another $9 every time?
You can do upgrades. Sometimes you can get upgrades at no additional cost when they make, small amount of changes, and an upgrade from I can't remember now. And again, it's my aging brain that doesn't have the details that I can just rattle off to you, but there are versions in the earlier stages where you might start out at 4, and then an upgrade would go to 5, that it wouldn't cost you anything, and an upgrade to 6, but then they'd make some real big changes where they can put the database online, or, a business can do something much, much more with it. So anybody wants to upgrade to that has to, start over again. And those start over prices, when you buy them from FileMaker, they vary because they want to even try to sell the monthly sort of renting of the application, and I wouldn't support that. I want to have the copy and know that I own the copy, and it's not going to cost me more to keep going with it, that sort of thing.
Right.
You just have to do some research on it. And I know Leanne has looked a little bit at that in the office, but I think what I'm asking is do you want to keep things up to date? Do you want to, if you had a copy of it on say an office laptop, which is what it was in the past, then different groups can build their own databases, like even the Heritage Society building a collections database, of all the things that they have in there with the information. I'm just saying what you'd have to do to keep it going without just sort of letting it stagnate.
Well, it seems like if we let the groups know that if we did the upgrade and we let
Well, we have to purchase it. It's not about upgrading.
okay,
about
so
making
we
that
purchase the
initial
software
purchase.
for $100, and then let the groups know, like the rec committee or other groups, that you have an
Well,
opportunity here to
okay,
use
so,
it.
but then let's not forget that if we're talking about the rec committee, which was booted from the
But
town
I
quite some
meant
time ago,
anybody that's using
or the
town
historic,
business.
or the Heritage Society, which is in fact, as much as it's associated with the town, is in fact a separate organization. So we may use it for cemeteries, and we may find some other uses for it, but generally speaking, I think that unless we're willing to find a new way to categorize some of these other groups, that they're probably not going to be able to use that, use the town computer and a town-owned piece of software. That's just my thought on it. But I'd like to move that we agree to purchase FileMaker Pro. My understanding is it's $99.
Mhm.
Should we figure it's gonna cost us a little bit more for shipping or anything else?
No, you won't have shipping on most of them. They're downloaded from online. It's a application that's downloaded. They don't send out a CD. Usually those cost even more if you have a
I
CD.
guess I kind of figured that, but I just wanted to check to see if, you know, because we're talking about actually approving a number, and I'd like to know if I know that it's $99, I'd say then for $99, or say not to exceed $100, or should we know that in fact we're gonna get stuck with some other costs? Or should I just say FileMaker Pro for $99? And can I get a second?
Yeah, second it. All in favor?
And you're still in the discussion phase here. If you've just seconded it, maybe it should have. Anyway, to purchase it and just have it sitting in the office isn't going to do you any good if somebody's not using it. If somebody's not
Well, we have some.
willing to train to be, you know, to keep something up to date. And for instance, the whole work that I did on the permit, to me, I thought that having been on the planning board for years, I thought that that was an excellent tool for the town to have, so that whenever there was a property that had a permit coming through, you could look and see what was done on that property before, if there were any things that were denied. But it's not going to go anywhere if it's just me that knows how to use it. And at my age, I'm not going to be doing this that much longer. So
Contract town to keep up with, or is
Sounds
that
like
what she's trying to say?
Volunteer to learn how to do it.
I know, I think what she's saying is all well and fine to purchase this, but unless you get somebody who wants to learn how to run it,
Right.
then it's not gonna do you any good, and
it'll just sit in the computer and not be of any value. Right.
But I know
Question,
I won't make any changes
question.
to it because Maple Grove takes care of theirs. I'm not gonna have any of that information. And we don't sell many lots. We don't have very many open cemeteries, and I don't know enough to make corrections.
Question.
What?
I'm just wondering, after listening to all of this, if the updating of that is something that should be handled by the cemetery committee.
I have to say that I would imagine that this would be the province of the cemetery committee. I can tell you right now that as a select board member, I'm not taking it on.
Me neither.
Well, right now, I see two people on there, Paula Dobbins and, who's the other one?
Must be Lorraine Parsons.
Oh, I think that's because.
Yes, Lorraine Parsons.
To,
And I would think that Paula Dobbins would be very capable of keeping this up,
if she felt like it.
if she felt like it, right?
So my understanding is we've made some appointments to the cemetery committee. Is this not true? Ken Violet is a member of the cemetery committee.
Yeah,
And
but I have a question regarding this. This is not just for selling of plots. This is.
Right.
This is for.
knowing where everybody is,
In all
exactly.
13 town
Well,
cemeteries.
that was
But
my
I
understanding.
don't get that information.
That information doesn't come to the town office through a section
Yeah.
that does burials in your cemeteries?
We used to get it on the death certificate, but I don't get those anymore. It's all online.
Wow.
So that data isn't even available to the cemetery committee or the town.
Right. Everything's electronic now.
Can you ask for a report from the state? I don't know. I don't know how you would obtain the information other than.
I have to look up each death certificate, but I'm not supposed to look them up unless someone requests a copy.
Right, and do you get a copy of every death,
Yeah.
unless it happens in the
Oh,
town?
yes,
It could
we
happen
do.
out of
We don't
town,
get-
burial that happened in the town.
We don't get any copies.
So the data doesn't sound like it's readily available to even enter. Unless you do the research after the burial is done.
Right.
So it's a little more, it's not that black and white.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I'm sure there's plots that have already been sold that the people haven't been buried yet.
Right, I
Right.
can give you a number of deeds that I've sold at Maple Grove Cemetery to people that plan on being buried there.
But they're not pushing up daisies yet.
In the 1800s, it was still copies of deeds. And
They chose
Somebody
something
never got
some
buried in
are-
it,
there
so.
might be one person buried in a 6-person plot from the 1800s, a 10 by 20 plot.
And no one else
And
chose to,
so,
I think it's more complex than people think.
yeah.
Well, I
when
rather
someone
suspect
is
as much.
Deceased and they get buried there, they notify the sexton. It doesn't mean they're deceased from here, they could be deceased in Florida and their ashes cremated and moved here and buried here. In any of your town cemeteries or Maple Grove.
Yep.
There's 13 cemeteries.
We have not had a lot of burials. We have very few open plots. And I know there's Sparrow. And,
Fuller and
yeah, the Bear Pond one.
there's one more.
I mean, say Bear Mountain Road.
But those plots were sold and their ancestors have rights to those plots, I would imagine. That's traditionally how it works in any cemetery. So if your great grandfather was buried in, let's say, Swan Pond Cemetery, and you chose to be buried there and you had an open plot, you should have deeded access because it's deeded to your heirs.
Mm-hmm.
So you could potentially be buried there but not technically deed.
Right.
So we better not sell any.
So it's not being sold, it was sold to be 1900. I had someone approach me that had someone buried early 1900s and wanted to know if they could be buried with their great grandfather. They certainly could.
Yep, that's
They
right.
had rights. And they put a stone on it. They're not there yet, but they plan on it.
Well, I don't think anybody's in a hurry for this.
Right?
Most generally not.
Well, those plots are not getting any cheaper. And harder to find, for
In
families.
that case, there was no expense.
Another thought, I'm not sure how this Zoom works. I put my hand up, but anyway, another concern that I have is that once you have a database like this up and running, I know Lorraine has looked at the database, has made some notes and suggestions and maybe even corrections too. I haven't had a chance to look through the pages that I just picked up this morning. But somebody needs to be able to determine what to change in the database, and moving forward, those changes need to be made so that you can keep your file that's online and in the office up to date. And the other piece of that is your sexton, who is selling plots and arranging for where the gravestones and the burials are done. That information has to get to somebody if you're going to keep it up to date too. So it's a complex situation that just buying FileMaker isn't going to solve it. And the thought may be that you need to really start some serious looking for who's going to keep it up to date. I mean, FileMaker is always going to be there. And I see the changes in prices on Amazon and eBay and so forth, depending on what people have to sell. So I don't think the price is really going to go up that much, because you can get an older version like the 17 that I'm using, or the 18 that's $99, where they've gone on to a 19. So I think you'll still be able to sort of, do a purchase at a later date, but pick up the other pieces of the puzzle, like who's going to keep it up? how does the sextant work into that? Who does he report to, or how does he get that information to the person who's actually doing the file work? I just, in the same way for the whole permit, if you got something for the planning board with the permits, the same sort of thing. How are you going to keep things moving and make it, something that's going to be a good tool for the town and worth purchasing? And maybe even if it's a good tool, it may even be worth purchasing more, a copyright from FileMaker that you can get more than one computer having it on it. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Judy, this is Sue Goulet. Thank you so much for all the work you've put into this so far. I'm overwhelmed at everything and the committees and everything you've been doing for us, and wow. And it sounds like a lot of work. I'm not saying that we won't be able to find someone that can do a small piece of everything you've been doing, but it sounds like this could be a great opportunity, volunteer opportunity for someone within the community looking for purpose. But holy cow, you've been doing a lot, and behind the scenes, I wasn't aware. Thank you so much.
Well, and on the website, you have this big splash across there about volunteers doing a lot. And I think volunteers are really the backbone of so many organizations, including the towns. And there's probably somebody out there who might be willing, but you just have to, I don't know, you have to put out the plea. I don't know how you get the information out there. I just wish I was 10 or 20 years younger so I could keep doing it. But so be it. That doesn't happen. I may be needing the cemetery sooner than being able to keep going at this rate.
Well, I guess none of us know about that.
Well, we can try. We can reach out on our Facebook page and see if we can find someone that is into history that might like to do some volunteer work.
You can put it in the Select Board's Hartford newsletter.
Yeah, it's true.
And talk with your other committees. I mean, like the Heritage Society that could use it for their collections, or with the planning board that could really use that tool. I mean, there could be multiple people we could train. I'd be willing to sit down and help and be kind of, answering questions and that sort of thing for several different groups.
So we okayed this.
You didn't vote yet.
We did not vote. We did not. We had a motion and second, which gives us room for discussion. And at this point, I wonder, if we don't have somebody who wants to be trained. Now, we do have a full cemetery committee at this time. Paula Dobbins, Lorraine Parsons, Raymond Hunter, Rusty Goulet, and Kenneth Violet. Of those, is there somebody who would be willing to sit down and learn this? I think there's maybe at least a couple of them that not James.
We have a meeting on the 6th.
On the 6th.
Good.
But it's gonna be attended by 3 of us.
3, yeah.
Cuts the middle of the day.
Just,
You have it in the middle of the
Future
day.
meetings, we could discuss it more and see if someone was interested, but
So, and why is it only 3? Why is it that only 3 people can come?
what's that?
Why is it that only 3 people can come?
because 2 people are working.
It's in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
You can't schedule meetings for when people can show up?
we're gonna try scheduling one that's more convenient.
Okay, because
for other people.
usually the first meeting of any given committee is when you choose your secretary and the president and the chairman and the vice.
We were sort of
chairman.
working around Lorraine for this one. I don't know if she'll attend all the meetings or not, but she's an early bird. So they can change it the next.
Okay.
so maybe we'll have that when we have more of a quorum and.
Well, 3 is a quorum, but you know, if at the first meeting you choose your president and, I mean, your chairman and vice chairman and secretary, then we already know who they'll be.
They don't have to be present, do they?
Well, you know, I've generally thought it was kind of rude to hand an office to somebody who's not present, but I suppose that's a very handy way to go about it.
You can ask them
September
both.
6th, 1 o'clock, right? Is it here?
Yes. And on Zoom.
And on Zoom.
Could the budget committee use this?
I don't see why not, but I put all of the Lake Association, when I was treasurer of the Lake Association, it was all done in FileMaker.
I use Excel because I'm so used to it.
That data is available compared to cemetery. That's.
One step at a time, I think that voting the new software in, and we'll see if we can build some interest with our groups to see if we can
Use it.
utilize it.
Well,
besides
so we're
just
gonna
for
buy it
cemetery.
on the chance that we can.
No,
use it.
the cemetery information already needs to be transferred over to it, because you have to have the new version. So we'll have that to start, and then.
Have a
Keep it
good
up.
evening.
See you, Bonnie.
Judy, the current information on the, on your FileMaker Pro can be moved over to the new version?
Of course, you can, with FileMaker, for instance, with any software, if you start it in a lower version, you can always open it in a more recent version, an updated version. You can't make a file in an updated version and open it in an old version. However, with FileMaker, you can transfer it into Excel and then open it up in an older version. So FileMaker has some flexibility in being able to get around that. If I had 17 and somebody in the town office had 19, there's ways of getting around it so that you can use both an old version and a new version. And the thing about FileMaker that's great is it's cross-platform. It opens on a PC and looks exactly the same on a PC as it does on an Apple. I'm on an Apple, and it can be transferred and opened up on a PC without any problem.
Yeah, so, but in order to secure the current information and even attempt to move it forward, this new software will do that. And then we can take steps from there to find other applications for it. I'd love to learn it, actually. I use Excel now. I'd be interested in learning how it works.
There we go. Okay, so we're gonna vote on this?
Well, I know I made the motion, but I'm
second
feeling a
it.
little bit unconvinced now that everybody's said that, there's no way you can get the data, and on top of that, who's gonna run it?
I think we need to do a little bit more research.
We're bound to find
Who
someone
wants
to
to
run
do
it.
the more research?
Yeah, that's just.
I don't think there's more research needed. I think that when we have current information that needs to go move forward, that Judy's secured, and for $99, we'll have that. I just said that I'd be willing to learn the software so that it's not just Judy that shares the information, and then we can figure out other applications. But I think tracking what we can track right now for historical cemetery information is going to be important.
We have her information. We need
She's good.
FileMaker to make changes. I'm not
Right,
confident in making any
But we're not gonna be
changes.
able to open or utilize that if we get too many versions behind, is what I'm
She
saying.
converted it to PDF.
But then you can't make changes on a PDF.
I don't want to make changes.
Right.
I wouldn't dare to make changes.
Yeah,
Some of these
messing with history there.
I just think we need, buying the version is $99. I just think that we need to give an opportunity for someone to come forward. And the most we're risking is $99.
Which nowadays is not a great lot. On the other hand, I've had quite a lot of experience in trying to get people to volunteer for stuff.
Yeah, I know. I just think we need to give it a chance.
And volunteering for stuff that actually requires some effort.
I would like the
Ken, will you
building-
help me find a volunteer?
building permit data.
Can we help
I don't mind
recruit?
trying to help find a volunteer. I'd love to say I could do it, but I don't have the background to be able to enter that data.
I'm hoping that Judy can help train me so that when we find a volunteer,
So Ken is on the cemetery committee, was not the one. I'm assuming that Rusty is not a real quiz at this sort of thing.
actually, he's really good at the computer, but he would not be interested in doing that. He'd say, here you go, Mom.
More, yeah. But
Okay, and is it?
But I don't think it has to
Is
be
it
a
a safe
cemetery
bet
committee. I think it could be a
Is it a safe bet that
historical-
Lorraine is
historian
not the
person
sort of
from our
person to
town.
learn
She
this?
wants nothing to do with it.
Okay,
I think for the cost, it's well worth having, so you can take that data and not just have it in paper
Okay.
form. If
Right.
something happens to the paper form, you have the data on your computer.
Right.
It is now,
You have it now, but you can't change anything.
right.
So.
But if we find somebody that loves history and wants to take this on as a project and work with the cemetery committee and stuff,
And like you said, this is
People
just
love
not
purpose.
cemetery, that's the big plus. I think there might be more benefits. to the
Right.
town
Yeah.
who
than
else here?
cemetery.
Right, the
Right.
building.
I agree.
Cemetery,
But it's not gonna-
in my mind, it's hard to get.
to find it,
Who's
I
here
mean,
on
Judy's
Zoom,
been doing it
Lenny?
for years
Who's here on
and
Zoom?
covering a lot of different committees
Lenny?
with it. I'm not saying that one person's gonna wanna do all of what Judy's been doing. She's Wonder Woman. But I think at least to start with someone that might wanna track historical data for the
Can you
cemeteries.
see it?
And then
Judy?
with.
Can I say one more, can I add one more?
stuff.
Yeah, so she wants to say something more.
Yes, go ahead.
Susan, what you're saying is good, and what you all need to realize is that I've done all the work. I've set up the database. I've set up the fields. I've filled the database with as much information as we could do at this point. And there is more information in the database than what is on those printed copies, either in the office or online. There's more data for each of those records than what we were able to fit into the printing of that database. So if somebody comes in and looking for information about somebody and asks another question, we can also track when somebody comes in and asks about a particular grave. You could make a note that so-and-so was in at a certain time, and anecdotal information, which is a lot of what Lorraine Parsons has, I'm putting into the database so that if somebody's looking for one particular person, there's other avenues that they can explore. And also, oh shoot, there was another thought that I just lost. You could add fields to that database. For instance, the sexton we could have each of the cemeteries with notes as to which plots are still open, where there's still space, where there, and then the town and the sexton working together can help somebody when they're looking for a plot to purchase. I mean, there's more ways you can build onto what we've already started. And the big thing is that most of the work is done by setting up a system to start with.
I can't see any of that
We'll
stuff.
swap places with me.
No, no.
Hartford doesn't have a sexton. Does every cemetery have a sexton?
Chris Bragg.
Chris Bragg is the sexton for the town cemeteries.
For Hartford cemeteries?
We don't have many burials. Maple Grove.
That's what we have Chris Bragg.
We don't-
Maple Grove.
So I don't see them because we don't have.
Well, you know, per se, as far as I knew, I didn't know. So Chris Bragg is a sexton for Maple
Sumner
Grove,
and Sumner.
but is he,
He always used to be for the out, as far as I knew.
I know he is for Sumner.
well, because of course, Crop was a sexton.
Dan has made a comment that I think you should look at and that I firmly agree with under the chat section on comments.
It's not really available for us to
It
read.
says, I would agree with a form of computerized records for many/all of the committees within the town of Hartford. I am currently keeping a paper trail for the health officer's position. So it sounds like he agrees with it.
Looks like there's two
Health officer.
comments from the same person. Or is
Yeah.
that- This
I would agree with that.
The first one is, what is the town's position if the highest bidder cannot fulfill the bid?
Now, that was on an earlier issue.
Right. My thought would be there should be a plan in place for bids and future bids, otherwise this process could be drawn out for months.
That's what I think. It's never, it's.
So for a small cost to the town, this is really
Nothing.
very small cost. It has many benefits, not just for
Right.
cemeteries.
Right,
Well, so I made the motion and it has been seconded. All anybody has to do is vote on it. And we'll get this, and then it remains to be seen and Susan has said she wants to learn it. So I guess then if that's the case,
Okay.
then we're all set.
all in
Then
favor?
we don't need to keep discussing it.
Yeah, good.
That was hot, like.
Then I will wait to hear from Susan or somebody else in the office about who would like to sit down with me either at my house with my computer, or I'll come in masked at the office and do something with you there. But I'll wait to hear from you. It's in your court.
Yep, sounds good.
Thank
You
you.
have Judy's.
Great,
number.
thanks,
Thanks a
Judy.
lot.
You have Judy's.
You're very welcome.
Okay, newsletter deadline is September 15th.
Which is, of course, before our next meeting. And
Lee, your next meeting is the 15th.
are you sure about that?
Yes, today's the 1st.
Okay. Great, no, I guess I was thinking ahead to whichever month we were talking about before, the 15th.
All we need
1
is
and
somebody.
14 makes 15.
Thank you, Richard.
What we need is a person assigned,
Okay,
and they have to have it ready for that meeting on the 15th, so I can then get a copy. I'm not messing around with these deadlines. Getting old.
Who's writing the letter?
Don't all jump
who's
at once.
writing the letter?
Who did it last time? Kathy did.
I
some.
did. Think.
Sue.
I would have to say it's Susan.
I,
She's already psyched to try and get somebody to volunteer to do this
Wonderful
historical
wanted
data.
volunteer in the newsletter. So this is a select board letter.
A
for the
select board
committee?
letter, and there's a format of sorts.
Okay.
There's-
Susan, what will help you is to look at old editions of the Hartford News.
Okay,
Then he can help you with that if you can't find it.
right.
You know,
And
basic-
it doesn't need to be a great long thing.
I'll give you a copy of this.
it doesn't have, I don't believe so.
Thank you, Kathy.
We need to
Yeah.
talk about the things that we've done since the last newsletter.
Okay,
And not about things that we might do later, and not about things that we did a long time ago. Just focus on that.
current,
It's
gotcha.
Basically, I mean, it's not really current because it's since the last newsletter, but, you know, and bear in mind that once the deadline is passed, then it takes a couple of weeks, so you're not gonna write about, oh, well, on September 19th, this is coming up, because it's gonna take too long to get the newsletter out. Got it.
Okay, Appointments and resignations. We've got a resignation in here from Arthur Harvey. Please accept my resignation as a member of the ordinance committee.
I move we accept his resignation with regrets.
I second it. All in favor?
Is he going to be an alternate or just?
He'd like to be an alternate. So we appoint,
So then you say, I move we appoint Arthur Harvey as an alternate.
okay, I move we appoint,
But the catch is, if you're an alternate to the planning board, I mean, to the ordinance committee, you have to actually be there at the meetings. You don't just show up occasionally if the chairman calls you and says, oh man, we need you tonight.
all I know is
Yeah.
all I know
I
is
think it's
he
called
said
in,
he'd like to be one.
You know, I'm just saying that an alternate ought to be showing up to the meetings so that they're ready to jump in and be part of what's going on if somebody can't be.
Yeah,
Yes, when Kate was the alternate, she was there every day, every time.
okay, I move that we appoint Arthur Harvey as an alternate
To the ordinance committee.
to be on the ordinance committee.
Somebody ought to probably let them know.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he'll find-
knows.
He'll find out.
Anybody second it?
I second it.
All in favor?
Did we actually, I moved to accept his resignation. I don't remember the vote on that.
Okay,
All in favor, 3. Kathy seconded.
Okay,
So what about, there was a couple other people that are interested in being on the ordinance committee, Kathy?
yep, I
That filled out
I,
forms or
uh,
something?
move to appoint Jeremy Johnson to the ordinance committee as a full-time
I second that.
member. All in favor? 2 of us.
All opposed? Do you have the list of
I love Jeremy, but I don't-
committee members?
I don't think he's an alternate.
I don't think so.
I didn't put it in your packet. So Jeremy will finish off his term, which I don't know offhand what it is.
Yep. Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay.
You want to be here.
Arthur's term is up in 2025.
Thank you.
Yep,
So, you know, wanting to be and being the man for the job are two different things, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I like Jeremy real well, don't get me wrong.
well, we'll see how they do, I guess.
Yeah, we will.
Anything else?
Any of these signed?
Oh, you know, I didn't think to say it in open session, but I'll say it now is that I was elected last night to be on the county budget committee.
Good job.
County, the Oxford County Budget, Budget Advisory Committee.
Sorry, I was in Augusta. That's why I called it, but then I got.
Right, well, that's what Kathy said, something like that. And, what was I gonna say, this would be my 13th non-consecutive year of doing that.
Sue, are you attending this training?
So can I just see that for a second? Hold on, my phone is in. I've got the, first is Wednesday.
Question, will the ordinance committee meetings be on Zoom?
If they request it to be Zoom, it will be.
I used to call saying,
They used to be.
oh, they used to be.
There's a whole new crew there.
New sheriff in town.
So, you don't know.
If I only set up Zoom if they request it. Planning board never requests it. Well, they actually did once.
They did for hearing, at any rate.
We did for the hearing, yes. This is the remainder of the correspondence that came in after I got the packets ready.
You want to pass that on?
Pass this back.
No?
I have to be in New Hampshire
Okay.
that morning, so I'm just, that's that Wednesday. I want to go though, because it's,
I thought that was the one that was in Arno that you were gonna be there.
oh, I only have control of half my schedule, the other half gets scheduled by the retail managers.
Did you guys sign those?
That morning, they got me stuck down in
Yep,
Portsmouth,
we're talking.
so
You signed the,
Appointment papers?
Well, that Bear Pond Improvement Association does a heck of a nice job.
doesn't it?
See you, see you early in the morning, Ken. How are you?
Thanks for showing up.
I'm gonna look for cemetery
you gotta go
graves.
grave hunting.
Lorraine, Ken, Moral Nason, the Perrys, me, maybe Joey.
What is this? We having a party tomorrow?
Gonna
Yeah,
look for
out in the
graves.
woods.
I go rock
We're meeting at Swan Pond Cemetery, right?
Yeah,
Great.
I just found it and took a hike through the woods today,
so you did?
yeah, a couple hours.
Was-
before the meeting.
Was there a trail out there?
No.
Oh,
No,
Oh, grown up.
I didn't see it.
nice
Shoot.
job. Did you find any ticks?
Uh,
Yeah, you're right.
I
Look at this.
haven't checked
Look
yet.
at this. Not one place does it say, executive session. Honestly.
The blackberries up in
Let's
here.
go in some, because it used to be,
No ticks.
there would be three
know.
items on the agenda and then like a dozen executive sessions to deal with personnel matters.
Are you not gonna sign this? Employee paperwork. That's all the forms, except
Cheers.
So, I left my birth certificate on the counter. Do you want to see my driver's license right now? And I
I
can
have to make
scan my birth
copies.
certificate.
Just scan them both.
Okay,
So there's no training that anybody wants to go to. And we review correspondence. Wicked State's got another $3 million grant. That's just what we want to do.
Did I get that resignation back? You gave it to me, right?
Did I?
Oh,
I thought I did.
yeah.
Did I?
Kathy, we put this in my box
Yeah.
to give to Arthur, because you don't have any room in your box, and it's still in my box. So, do you want me to make a point to drop it over to him, or do you want to?
Cool.
This is the packet for ordinance that was supposed to go to Arthur.
Oh, yeah, okay, I can take it over to him.
Okay,
Do you still want to go to Arthur?
or do you want to go to the chairman? It's old
Yeah, we'll
ordinance stuff.
go out,
I
yeah,
have
maybe.
books. I'll give him a book, a whole book.
Okay. But we can put it back in my box if you want. It was in mine because we ran out of
Yeah.
papers.
So we just gonna pick up. How are you doing?
Are we done with correspondence, you guys? Okay, we'll adjourn. 9:18, whatever.
I like catching the commissioners minutes every now and again.
Judy's been a commissioner for a long time. She doesn't-
Night, you guys.
Meryl has been. I know it's bad.